Okay, in this video, I'm going to look at rates of change. Now, this is a topic in the Unit 2 Maths Methods syllabus. So my students will be working on this around next week. So this is where it should fit in the sequence of this subject. So we're about halfway through the unit, and this is what we're looking at. So rates of change we are starting with. Now, all of this is a lead into our derivatives that we're going to be looking at in the next couple of weeks. So a lot of this work is a lead in to that topic. So rates of change. We're looking at some graphs and discussing what is happening with them as one variable changes and the other variable, so the change in one with respect to the other. So we weren't going to look at the change in the distance with respect to time. And so we've got our D up here is our distance in meters, T is the time, and so we can look at that graph. So in the first minute of our graph, we can see that it has travelled from 2 meters to 4 meters. So it is moving away from where it was, and it has done that in 1 minute. So we could work out an average rate that it was travelling in that time. Then we have between 1 minute and 3 minutes, the distance doesn't change. So that particle or car or whatever we were looking at in this picture, it hasn't moved. So it's stopped. It's stationary for that period of time. Then after 3 minutes, it starts moving again and moves another 2 meters in a minute there. And then it is traveling back to its starting point. So it's still moving. It's going from that 6 meters away from zero back to zero. So it's moved 6 meters and it's done that in 2 minutes. So we could work out that rate there as well, that it's traveling 3 meters per minute here. Over here, we're doing 2 meters per minute because we have gone across 1 and up to each of those times. And we can discuss that in our graph. We can also have a look at another type of graph here where we have x and y, and we can look at what's happening to the y with respect to the x. So we can look at different parts of the graph and discuss when it is has a positive or negative gradient, so or a positive or negative rate of change. So when we're looking at that, we can see that our line is moving upwards here. So between these 2 points, it has a positive gradient. Then it has a negative gradient. Then it becomes positive again for this section from here to here, and then it's negative again. Often students will see the section below the line and think that's when it's negative, but we're actually looking at the gradient of that line. So that line is moving upwards, therefore it has a positive gradient. Here it's moving downwards, it has a negative gradient, upwards, downwards. If this happened to be a graph of the rate of change instead, and you were plotting the speed or the rate of change, then you would be looking at above and below the axis as to the negative, positive here. But this one is just x and y, so we're looking at the sections when that line is increasing or decreasing.